Good morning, everybody,
Good morning.
or good afternoon. This is Online Yoga with Via, May 25th, 2020. We're probably, most of us are still on some sort of lockdown. Here's a picture of me, just so you don't, I just dump you right into the class. Now I'm going to stop that and we're going to start the class. Two people waiting, let's let them in. Lying on your back. This is starting in the ordinary fashion. You may want a stack of paws under your head so that you have a neutral cervical spine. Your knees bent. If you have trouble with your lower back, you may want to put a mobility strip under your waist, at your waist, and press into it to create more stability there. Or you could put a folded yoga blanket or any blanket or beach towel underneath your hips to raise it up a little bit, and that might also help to flatten the curve of your spine. Just watch your breath. Remember why you came. Bring your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, create a little cradle for the back of your skull, your occipital ridge. And from that position, which is basically to hold your head still for the vagus nerve reset, just shift your eyes, nothing else moves, the eyes shift to the right. You can do this with your eyes closed or open. They shift to the right and you wait for an involuntary yawn, sigh, swallow, or gulp. Come back to center. Shift your eyeballs to the left. Wait for a sigh, yawn, swallow, or gulp. If that doesn't arrive, just keep practicing this move and your body will eventually catch up to your brain and to your nervous system. Come back to center and do that 2 more sets, right, left, without cueing, without my cueing. Rumi, we're doing vagus nerve reset. Welcome. Welcome also Suzanne and Diana. I think everyone else has been welcomed. Finish up. Keep your hands in that position. We're going to do head ramping. So just this time, if this is a resistance movement, you're going to press the back of your skull into your hands, stacked or clasped hands. Press and wait and breathe and then release. And then continue about 4 more times. Everything we do in this class is about restoring or maintaining functional movement. And now I want you to bring your hands, let's see how I'm going to say this. I want you to imagine the shape of your diaphragm. It's like a little umbrella. And then bring that shape, put your hands in that shape, a little umbrella shape, and then bring their hands down underneath your rib cage at your diaphragm. So it's like this, Kathy. Put your hands, make a little umbrella like this. And that, let's see, can anyone see me? Maybe I should pin me for a minute. So your diaphragm is like a little umbrella, like this. Whoops, it's hard for me to look at myself. And you're gonna take this shape, go create this shape. It could be like this. And then you're gonna put it, you're lying down, I'm not. You're gonna put it right here. So it's like a little umbrella. And then as you inhale, it flattens. And as you exhale, it fills up again. So inhale. So I'd like you to embody that shape by putting your hands just below your rib cage and inhaling and flattening your hands and then exhaling and filling them up again. So this is just a way to become more aware of and in touch with what's happening when you breathe. I can unpin my video. So Kathy, you want to bring your hands are not touching, they're not flat. They're facing your knees. So let's see, let me do this again. See if I can do it better. I'm going to put myself on my computer on the floor. Maybe I can put my computer and me on the floor. Your hands are like this. They're creating a little umbrella at the base. I don't know whether that's the best way to see me, the base. And then as you inhale, the diaphragm flattens. It's counterintuitive, actually. Diaphragm flattens. And then as you exhale, it comes back into a little umbrella shape. So I want you to put your hands underneath. See, it would be better if I had a little thing like this underneath here. And then it starts with your hands in a little umbrella shape or mushroom shape. And then it flattens as you inhale. And as you exhale, it comes up. And this is just strictly an exercise in trying to think about what is happening on the inside of your body by using your hands to replicate that on the outside of your body. Don't overthink it. It's an effort to help you know what's going on inside the body. It's actually called interoception. So let's see how I did with that with Kathy. Yes, that's so. Don't flatten it. Right. So don't flatten it onto your stomach. So you're in a shape like this, and then you flatten it down. Let's see. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Go ahead and sit up, Kathy. Maybe I should have started all of you sitting up. So now make a little umbrella or a little mushroom here. Make it a little round. It's underneath your rib cage, underneath your chest. Now inhale and flatten the mushroom there. So actually, yeah, okay, and that's good. And then exhale and take it back. So inhale and then exhale. Now do that while you're lying down. Does that make more sense, Kathy?
Yes.
Okay.
That does. Thank you.
Okay. So just think of inhaling. It's you would think when you inhaled it inhale would inflate your mushroom, but it doesn't. It flattens the mushroom. And then exhale, and the diaphragm. I should next week I'll bring a picture of a diaphragm. So do that a couple more times. Letting your hands represent the shape, the two shapes that the diaphragm takes on inhale and exhale. And now let's do the make claws of your fingers. So make a little crooked fingers and dig underneath the rib cage and massage the diaphragm. You can do both fingers, both hands on one side and then the other, or you could do, you know, the left hand on your left, underneath your left rib cage, the right hand underneath your right rib cage. This is a really good practice to release the diaphragm is often gummed up in the fascia that's also there. So the diaphragm's an organ, and then there's fascia all around it and through it actually. And sometimes it starts gumming up, and this will release that and increase the opportunity for your diaphragm to breathe, basically. And then let's do a hypopressive. That's enough breath work. Let's do a hypopressive. We're going to do a side lying hypopressive. So you start on your back. Your legs are straight. Your arms are up overhead. Just like we do when we do a bridge hypopressive, or in several others that we do. So the legs are straight, the arms are overhead. You can stack the hands and create a wrist stretch. There, that's right, Kathy. And now you're going to do 3 breaths, and then you're going to roll to the right. This might be hard for you to do first time out, so be gentle with yourself. Do the best you can. It's a getting out over to the side that's the hardest. It's the rolling that's the hardest. 3 breaths, inhale, exhale. Keep your ankles together, Kathy. Put your ankles together. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Hold your breath out, no breath, roll to the right. Roll, roll, roll. See, it's a little struggle. Stay here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no breath, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale, and then exhale, roll over back onto your back. Other side, 3 breaths and roll on your, when you're holding your breath. So inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last one, inhale, exhale. Hold your breath out, no breath, roll to the left. Stay here, and I will count for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Roll on back, everybody. Now, if you couldn't do that, if I were in a classroom with you, I would come over and help you roll up, but I'm not. So you'll just want to practice trying to get up like that, or you can stay on your back and do your no breath. We're going to start the body of the class with some floor-seated poses. So come up to seated. We're going to start with a hero's pose and then move actually to a cow pose. If you have a strap, please have it nearby. If you have a brick, you may want to sit on a brick. Hero's pose is when your knees are, you're seated on your knees, like Kathy's doing right now. And Kathy, you can demonstrate the brick if you want, because that might be really helpful to some people. Make this all possible. So you don't have to do this. Do the brick. Open your legs so we can see the brick. Open your knees. There's her brick, and now she's sitting on it lengthwise, I think. Maybe not. Oh, that might be a little, yeah. I think that's fine. So fiddle around with that if that's going to help you. Otherwise, no brick. And the first thing I want you to do here in hero's pose, the only thing actually, is come up onto your knees. So you're coming all the way up onto your, straightening your legs and bringing your arms overhead. So come, yes, that's it, and arms overhead. He's going to change her screen so you can see your arms. So I want you to do this very slowly, up and down, seated, and then standing on your knees, essentially, and raising your arms up. And just finding something really long, and then coming down and please breathe as you do this. So first bring your torso up, standing on your knees, and then bring your arms straight up in front of you, Kathy. And bring your arms in front of you, palms facing each other, bring them up by the ears. Yes, so don't bring them out and up, bring them straight up. And then come and sit down and see if you can feel the quads and the abdominals working when you come up. So standing on your knees, bringing your arms overhead. Breathing, and then returning and doing 2 more of those. Up she goes, arms overhead. And down. And down. 1 more. Up. The next floor seated pose we're going to do is stacked knees. Now, I've never tried stacked knees with a brick, so I don't know whether that helps people or not. Let me try it for myself. But the knees are both forward and one of them is on top of the other. That's knee Z. Yes, this is the one we're doing. So it's true that it probably might help some people to be seated on a brick. This is called cow pose, the bottom half of cow pose. We're going to do the top half too in a minute. Stacking your knees. If you want to feel the stretch, the best stretch, you're going to not use a brick. But if it's an impossible pose for you, you're going to use a brick. So let's just stay here, find good posture, make sure you're seated on your sits bones and not your tailbone. And your arms, your chest is open. I want to do something with you that I think might be really interesting to you. You know, there's a muscle called Pec Minor that's runs right along from your arm bone down towards your sternum. It's on an angle, comes down across. And you can push and pull on that muscle. So, but it's a little, you have to imagine it because it's underneath Pec Major, which is a much larger muscle. But it's the muscle that moves your arm, allows your arm to go overhead. So we're going to do something with that muscle. The first thing I want you to do is push the muscle from the sternum, push it all the way up towards the arm. Don't lift your arm though, Kathy, just push it up. Let's see, push it up. So let me try to show this on mine, because this is brand new to Kathy. And it's not brand new to me. So the muscle runs like from here, actually it connects up here to the coracoid process, coracoid process. And this little bony area here, and then it comes all the way down to here. So I want you to press, starting with the other hand, the opposite hand. So you're going to start pressing up, pressing the Pec Minor up towards the bone, the clavicle. Press it up, and then pull it down. That's the direction that this muscle moves. So up. It's interesting. Okay. It looks funny to me when I'm looking at it. It makes me wonder how you guys think about it, but feel about it. But you're going to find it and you're going to press up.
Oh, I can feel it.
And then pull down on it. So press up and pull down. Now, the actual energy of this muscle is upward. So it's an upward movement, up and down. So do that, and then I want you to experiment with this. So press it up. Let's see, press it. You have to use your opposite hand because you're going to use this arm in a minute. So press it up as high as you can get, and then bring your arm up. Let's see, and press it. Yeah, bring your arm up. So muscle up, and arm goes up by your ear. And then come down, and then pull the muscle down towards you. This is a lot of us have a very tight Pec Minor, and it's tight and pulled down like we're doing right now. So pull it down away from your collarbone. And now try to lift your arm up towards your ear, and you're going to find it's harder to do. I hope you find that. It's harder to do. So there's a point here where it doesn't really even want to go up any higher than that. Whereas if you're pushing up, where it's open and has a lot of expansion in the chest, it'll go right up. Can you feel the difference there? Play around with that for a minute, you guys. problem, one of my problems is I don't have latex on. I think if I had a sports shirt on, rather than this cotton Mexican shirt, maybe you could see better what I'm doing, but I hope everybody's getting it. Let's see what Kathy's doing. So just push up. Remember, it's on an angle. You push up on an angle and then bring your arm up. And it ought to go up fairly easily because the muscle is allowing it to go up easily. And then if you pull down the opposite direction and then try to bring your arm straight up, no, not a bent elbow arm, Kathy, just straight up, and see at some point, it's going to feel like your muscle is actually inhibiting your movement. And that's, try it on both sides, but that's really what happens when we have tight chest muscles, tight pec minor, which a lot of us do, because as we round forward, that's what happens, is those muscles get very tight. Just something you can play around with while in any floor seated or standing or seated pose. But I thought that would be a fun thing to do right now. We go ahead and switch to the other side because we're going to do a little more movement. And if you have any questions on this one, stay and ask me afterwards or send me an email. Or if you have any ahas, any discoveries. We're going to add, so you've switched sides, I'm going to switch sides. We're going to add several variations of the top of the cow pose. So the bottom of the cow pose is stacked knees in front of you. And the top uses your arms. And the first thing I want you to do, if you have a small brick, there's my small brick, way over here. If you have a small brick, I want you to put the brick behind your back and bend your right elbow and put your right forearm on the brick and press. This is baby steps towards the full top half of the cow pose. So that's not it. So you're going to put your brick, I'm going to try it without demonstrating it, then I'll demonstrate if I need to. But put your brick behind your back, just above your waist. Hold on with your left hand, and then take your right hand, bend your elbow, and rest it on the brick. I think this would be really hard for me to show, but Kathy, if she moved her body so we could see the back, she could show this, I hope, pretty easily. So what you're doing, you should feel some sort of an opening in the shoulder and the scapula. Can you turn all the way around, Kathy, so we can see your back? We'll see her. So she's sitting with her knees stacked in front of her on a brick. She's going to take the other brick and put it at her waist. Flat, flat, flat. Kathy, yes, that kind of flat. The arm is going to go out on the outside of the brick, not resting on the brick, Kathy. So let's see, your left hand is holding onto the brick. Your right hand, your right arm, forearm is on the outside of the brick, not on the top of it.
Oh, I don't know if I can do that.
You'll need to bring the brick up a little higher. Bend your elbow, and that is a reasonable facsimile of it. Try to, so everyone else, can you see Kathy's having a hard time? Actually, she has some shoulder issues that may inhibit this movement. Try the other side, Kathy, and see if that's better. No, which shoulder is crankier? Yeah, okay, see if, so she's bending her elbow, she's sitting tall, and she's pressing the back of her forearm into the brick. So that's pretty good. So everyone try this, right and left. So it allows you to sit in cow pose and then start to work up. We're going to actually do a little bit more advanced work in cow pose in a minute, if you can get there. Now, let me tell you, if this is really hard for you, don't put a brick there. Just bring your hand behind you and, I don't know, and see if you can
That's easy.
touch your other arm or clasp on to the forearms, clasp onto the wrists, anything that starts to bring, this is a great movement at the beginning of a great movement to start to open up the chest. Can you feel that? So now we're going to take your strap, or you're going to stay there, play with your brick or without your brick, and bring your arms behind you and hold on to your wrists or your forearms or touch or your elbows. That's what you're going to do unless you want to do the one with the strap, which is on the way to the pure pose. If you have a strap, put a strap on the right side of your shoulder, just like a badge. And then bring your strap is on your right shoulder. You're going to bring your right arm up, bend your elbow, take it behind you. Oh, put your strap on your shoulder, Kathy. Yep. Up and behind you. Kathy's not going to be able to do it on this side. Because the next thing is to grab this strap, which so there she is better. So now the other elbow, bend the other arm, take it behind you, bend bend the right arm behind you towards the floor. So let's see, right arm, straighten your arm and take it down towards the floor, Kathy. No, just your right arm. Now bend it behind you like you had it before. Yes. And now she's going to grab onto the strap with both hands. Nice. And then she's going to start to work her arms. One hand tries to crawl towards the top hand tries to crawl toward the bottom hand, and the bottom hand tries to crawl towards the top hand. So, and keep your elbows bent. The left arm is going up toward the ceiling, and the right arm is going down towards the floor. And this is a do your best kind of thing. You can see how you can inch your way up the strap. And at some point in your practice, but not this month or year probably, but you will be able to just clasp your hands together. Now, Kathy might not be able to, depending on whether she's going to heal some of the crankiness in her shoulder. But as she does some of the shoulder work we do here, it may actually go away or improve. So listen to your own body and have fun with this for a minute. And when you're ready, switch to the other side. The strap allows you to begin to approach with the full cow pose, which I can't do, by the way. I used to be able to do it, but I haven't practiced it enough lately. But to get your hands, is there anyone here that can do this? Get your hand so you're not even using the strap. You're just touching your fingers, top fingers and bottom fingers, or actually eventually clasping the two fingers. So this is not for the lazy, but it's kind of fun to do, and it's kind of fun to do with the bottom cow pose because this is the top half of cow pose. Go ahead and finish up, you guys. Could not stay in the stacked legs. That's fine. So Caitlin couldn't stay in stacked legs, so she went to crossed legs. So that would be fine. You can break these up. You can do the top half from a chair, with a chair seated position. So you can imagine you don't have to have these together, but in a traditional classic yoga practice, the ultimate goal is to do the bottom half and the top half of cow together. Okay, come on out of that and come into a lotus or a cross-legged position. You can face the front now, Kathy. Thank you very much. I hope that in the long run that helps your shoulders. So yoga is anytime you combine the mental with the physical, mind and body, with the spiritual, which is the attention you pay, mind, body, spirit, the attention you pay to the breath and the body. Anyway, that's yoga. So all of the work we do here is yoga. I hope you're paying attention to your breath and your movement, but it's not necessarily classical yoga. So we just approached a classical yoga pose. That's what I'm telling you. Cross-legged, what I just want you to do is cross your legs and then take a minute to choose, I guess, the front leg. I want you to, you might even rest it on the opposite thigh. It depends. You want to get it up there. You're going to take your socks off. If you can't get it on your thigh, you might get it on a brick. Because I want you to be able to reach it to do these two things. Big toe press and short foot. I'm going to show you short foot here. Short foot we usually do on the floor, but one of the interesting things about doing it here is that you can notice the muscle that runs along the middle more easily. So there you are, your foot is on its side. You're going to put your hand on the big toe, the metatarsal mound, just below the toes. You're going to put your palm there, and then you can lift your toes and spread them just like you do on the floor. So Kathy, your hand is on the bottom of your foot. That's another pose. I'm gonna show you this one also. I'm gonna see if I can show you this one. One of the reasons I'm showing you these things is because I want to do more individual videos of my own. So here you are. Let's see if I can put it this way so you can see it better. Here you are. Your foot is resting on the other leg or a brick, and your hand is right here. The palm of your hand is here. So it's like the floor. So your hand is the floor. You spread your toes, lift your toes. So lift your toes, spread them, drop your toes onto your hand and push. And if you want to, this is what I mean by knowing, if you want to, you can put your other hand back here along the bottom of the foot and feel the contraction that happens with short foot in this muscle along here. So it gives you, one of the things I like about doing short foot like this is it gives you feedback and makes your standing or seated short foot better. So here you are, your hand is here, and then you take your toes away from your hand and then towards your hand as if it's like it's the floor, pressing your toe pads in, waiting, breathing, and if you want, you can put your hand here and feel what's happening along the bottom of your foot. And then you'll know that you're doing short foot. You're doing success. You were successful at exercising that muscle that runs, it's called the plantar, it runs along the bottom of your foot. Let's see how Kathy did now with my demonstration. Nope. No, yeah. So when you have pressed your toe pads into the hand, that's when you should feel that muscle along the bottom of the foot. Short foot, floor-seated short foot, basically. Before we go to the other side, let's do the other one that I've been trying to teach you, which is actually prevents and reverses bunions. But this muscle, the muscle you're working on now, I think I'll go ahead and go down on the floor and try to demonstrate this myself. Pinning my video. You're working on the side of the big toe, and there's a muscle that runs down here along the side of the foot that you're trying to get to move. So really, basically, you're trying to get the big toe to move away from the other toes. Now, I can hardly do that myself because I've spent so many years with my little toe and my big toe crowded into a shoe. And this muscle never works. And oh, by the way, this muscle also never works. So you could do this on the other side, the same thing. So what I'm going to do is coax it into working by putting, I can put my hand there, or I can put my finger there. I'm going to put a brick because it's hard on my bone here. So here I am. Down one. Here I am. So I'm going to put either my hand, which I actually like best, and then all you're going to do is press the big toe into the hand, and you can absolutely see and feel this muscle along here working, and then release and press. So at some point in the distant future, you might be able to do that. You might be able to have train that muscle to start working, and it will start to move on its own. But now you're using a little bit of resistance to teach it. Here's a muscle, big toe, that you haven't been using, and that's because the big toe is not using that muscle, that's why you start to get bunions. The same is true, by the way, over here. So you could do it on that side. So play around with it. I'm going to go back to Kathy. That'll take me a minute or two. And so press up and then feel the reward of doing this. And this is a very small movement. And everybody switch sides, and then we'll do short foot on the other side. So Kathy, if you want to bring, can you bring your camera so we can see your feet really close? So remember, short foot is different than the big toe press is what I'm calling it. But your foot is, think of the short foot that you've done standing and seated, and make your hand, the palm of your hand, like the floor. And then press, spread your toes, lift your toes, spread your toes, and then drop your toes into the floor. Press. And while you're here and hold, you might be able to use your other finger, the fingers of your other hand, to feel the contraction that's created by the movement, which should be rewarding and also give you a little bit more of an idea of what you're doing when you're standing or seated and doing a short foot. So this is This is a non-standing short foot, basically. And it's something you could do, I suppose, while you're watching TV in some sort of a floor-seated position, I hope. And now do the big toe press. Both of these, maybe this week, both of these you could find a floor-seated position and do the floor-seated short foot and the short floor-seated toe press. There's lots of footwork you can do from a floor-seated position, especially this floor-seated position. We probably should have switched sides, but we didn't. Oh, we did switch sides, never mind. Let's go ahead and come to a chair. Everybody come up to a chair. We're going to do a figure 4 on a chair. I hope your feet liked all of that work, and we're going to do a little bit more footwork because this practice today is focusing on some footwork. And Kathy, if you'll put your chair facing the front. You probably do better with a book than a brick because, well, I'm not sure actually, now that I think about it, but let's try the book. So bring your right knee towards your face. So you're seated in good posture and then cross the ankle over, that's figure 4. That in itself is a hip opener, you guys. If you have a therapy ball, you could put it under your right hip and see how that is to add a little bit more, a bonus. So from here, what I'd like you to do is just do ankle circles. So when you're circling your ankle, be sure that you're circling your ankle and not the front part of your foot. And then reverse your circle. And now thread your fingers between your toes. So it's called a toe handshake. You could thread either your right hand or your left hand. You could thread from the back to the front or the front to the back. And then this is like like the correct toes that we have that you can buy nowadays to keep your toes, help your toes separate. And you could circle here too, or wiggle or scrunch your toes. Just it's a handshake. Do whatever you shake it. And then from here, stop what you're doing and just come forward, flat back hip hinge. Just one of these, just to, so you're coming forward, your chest is open, and you're hinging at the hip. So don't round your back. Kathy, if we could see you on the side, I think it would be better for your audience. So think of this as, I mean, you've added a figure 4, but otherwise you're just coming straight forward at the hip, hinging at the hip. The back is flat. Lift your chin a little bit, Kathy, so that, not that much, so that you feel like the cervical spine is in line with your thoracic and lumbar. Forward, this may be just a little bit for you. This is good for lower back. And then slowly come up. You can press on your leg to come up if you want. Press and then slowly come up, keeping your back flat. Switch sides and do this, all 3 of those on the other side. Bring your right knee up, cross over, circle, remembering to keep the circle. Imagine that the circling is happening in the ankle joint. And circle in one direction and then the other direction. Toe handshake. And then come on down. Oh, let's do flat back hip hinge on this side. So just come forward. And then stay here for a couple breaths. And then bring yourself slowly back. You can press on your leg if you'd like to bring yourself back. Find your way onto the floor prone for back extension. Lying on your belly with your head forward. We're going to do a basic back extension and then airplane and then Superman, but always you can stay at the level 1 or you can move to level 2 or level 3. So listen to your own body. Your arms are by your hips. If you have a pubic bone that gets sore when you're on your belly, you can put a cushion under it, a blanket or something under it. Mine does. Now from here, take an inhale to prepare. And then exhale, lift your chest, your back, your head. Stay here and take a breath. And come up a little bit if you want to. This should not get into your lower back. This is an upper back strengthener. And then inhale to prepare and exhale to return. We're going to do the same thing and then we're going to add on airplane so the arms come out in a T. Inhale to prepare and exhale. Lift the arms, the chest, the head. Drop your chin a little bit, Kathy. And if you have it in you, go ahead and lift a little higher, but don't do that if it bothers your back. Make this smaller. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, arms come out to the side, palms down. Airplane. Take a breath here. If you have it in you, lift a little higher, but not if it hurts anywhere. And then inhale to prepare and exhale to return to the floor. One more, super lady, superwoman. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, arms, chest, head. Drop your chin a little bit, Kathy. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, arms come out into airplane. Breathe. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, the arms come up by the ears, palms facing each other. And stay here. This is the hardest part. If you can't do this, you can stay it back on the airplane or the basic level. Take an inhale and then exhale all the way back to the start position. Good work, everybody. We're going to get ready for the 61-point guided meditation. You'll find your way onto your back. Over your eyes. You want to be warm and comfortable. I'm going to stop my video and I'm going to be asking you to systematically bring your attention to the internal points that are in without moving your body. So just moving your attention, starting with the breath, breathing in and breathing out. And now bring your awareness to the center of your eyebrows, center of your throat, right shoulder, elbow, wrist, right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, right wrist, elbow, right shoulder, center of your throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, left wrist, left elbow, left shoulder, center of your throat, spiritual heart center, right side of your chest, heart center, left side of your chest, heart center, navel center, center of your pelvis, right hip, right knee, right ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, right ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, left hip, left knee, ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, navel center, heart center, center of your throat, center of your eyebrows. This concludes the 61-point guided Yoga Nidra meditation. Just start to return to attention to breath. Straighten your legs and bring your arms overhead by your ears. Wiggle and stretch like a cat. Right side, left side, fingers and toes. Create some space more space between your rib cage and your pelvis. And then hug your right knee to your chest and your left. Hug both knees. Roll to the side. Rest here for a bit. I know some of you don't take this step, but this is a great way to get up from a lying down position. Use your top hand to press yourself up to seated. I'm going to cancel the spotlight. I've unmuted everybody. And I can see all of your beautiful pictures. Just find a floor-seated position that's comfortable for you. And bring your hands into prayer pose. Press here. There are actual nerve endings here, like the bottom of the foot. So press your hands together, feel the nerves. And then go ahead and nod forward, bow. Glide the occipital ridge over the top of the skull. We're going to close the class by saying to each other, Namaste.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thea.
you.
All right.
I'm Stop recording. You can either leave the meeting or you can stay and chat.